Well, hello and welcome to episode 15 of our front yard garden here in the South Carolina upstate. Today is the 17th of May in 2024. As I said, episode 15. It's a Friday and it's a bit overcast. We've had mostly sunny days, but today overcast, but it's very pleasant out. It's about 70 degrees, maybe 72. It's going to go up probably close to 80 by the time all is said and done. And so we're going to get started here, as always, with our mailbox bed. We've been watching these clematis, the Giacomini clematis, the last few weeks. They were fully in bloom about 2 weeks ago, and then I wouldn't say they're fading, but we're certainly losing some of the petals. This was, if you saw some of the videos a couple weeks ago, this was solid purple, and since then we've had a bit of rain this week. We're seeing a lot of the petals on the ground, but still a lot of color. And even once this is done, we'll still get some more flowers off and on as the year progresses. So it's not over yet. Same thing with this clematis down here. This one had a bright purple color to it, and that's finished up, but it'll give us some more flowers later in the year. And then we have our usual pansies and some vinca. Vinca have not been doing all that great yet. We didn't get any coming back from seed last year. We had a ton of vinca through here that had all come up from seed. Now as I look, I might be getting a couple of little flowers or plants coming up, but nothing yet. But if I remember correctly, and I'd have to go back and look at the videos, I think we got vinca a little bit later in the year. These we planted from just a local greenhouse, and they're giving us some flowers right now, although not a ton of them. Pansies are going to probably continue to bloom for another month or so before the heat does them in. And we have just a number of other things, some zinnias that my wife has put in from seed. She grew these out on the back porch and just put them in this past week. We'll see how they do. And we have one Asiatic lily here. Irises are all finished. We got a little bit of phlox, just a big mix in this front mailbox bed. And then as we continue, got some interesting things. There isn't a huge change overall from last week, but there are a few new things that are worth noting. We've got our purple pansies. Again, you can kind of see where the flowers aren't looking as robust as they were about a month ago. As it heats up, and we've been having more and more days in the 70s and even low 80s, the pansies start to fade. Also got a lot of flowers on our miniature knockout rose here. These flowers stay out for a long time, but they start to after a while they start to fade, and then eventually they just turn brown and fall off. We have not typically deadheaded these, but they seem to do well anyway, so not necessarily a huge need for that. We do have our one oriental lily here. Very short little thing. It's only about 6 inches tall, but it's got a couple of buds and these gorgeous sort of fire-colored flowers coming out. So that's exciting. Got a couple little miniature daylilies over here, and a nice crop of weeds. There's always weeds in this bed. I don't know why it's really prone to that. And then over here, just kind of a mix of things. Dianthus. These have actually come back out a little bit since last week. We have more flowers now than we did. Then we have some more pansies and our pom-pom marigolds. We need to deadhead those. They're not not looking as robust because of the ones that are browning up, but the fresh ones still look fantastic. Excuse me. And then over here behind St. Francis, we have our climbing rose. We've had a little bit more success. I repositioned the scaffold. It's a little bit off balance, but it hasn't fallen over the past week. I'm hoping this plant will start to have a little more success. It's lost a lot of leaves. It's still giving us some beautiful flowers though, and hopefully that will continue. But between black spot and just falling over repeatedly, this has not been the happiest rose in the garden. We've also put a number of not buds but bulbs in throughout this area. A number of different things. We're going to see how they do. Got some more zinnias grown from seed right in here. Hopefully these will continue to do well. We've got our Russian sage back in here. This will start to bloom, a little pale purple flowers maybe in another month or two. And we've got black-eyed Susans here, some phlox. We've got just a bunch of things. The irises are all finished up in here. Got a lot of clematis that were up on a trellis. They are done for the time being, although they will give us some scattered flowers later on. And then we've got our other climbers here. Not overwhelmingly successful or attractive, but they do give us the occasional flowers now and then. So we leave them in there, see what they do. Then we have some coreopsis here. We had one batch of these that had bloomed, and then it looked like maybe they were done, and I kind of skipped past the other coreopsis. I want to show those real quickly. They're doing well, and they have a lot of buds, so I'm not sure if my wife might have gotten out here during the week and deadheaded them, hopefully, and then that'll allow them to start to bud even more. This is our one begonia that comes back every year. It's not real big right now, but it will get a little bit bigger as the year progresses and start to give us some flowers. And over here is our hydrangea. It's just started to really come into bloom in the past week or so. Usually these are either going to be pink or blue. Interestingly enough, we have kind of a combination. Right now, more of these are sort of a lavender color more than pink or blue. But they're looking very nice, and they're going to continue to come out over the next probably couple of weeks. Some of the buds are still very, very small, but others are, fully in bloom. So we have 3 plants here. We'll see what these do. And we have 4 more over here. These are also kind of in various degrees of blooming. Now this one, of course, is more of traditional blue color. It's gorgeous. And then pink over here. Never really figured out the exact secret to these. Some of them you can buy them together, and one will be blue, one will be pink. It doesn't seem to relate to the pH of the soil. I was always sort of led to believe that was the case, but the pH is pretty consistent from one spot to another here in this garden. The soil all came from the same spots. And then over here, I always kind of show these off, although there isn't really a whole lot to show. Our orange tree hasn't really done a whole lot. It's gotten a little bit of new growth this year, but no flowers. Meyer lemon, doing okay. Probably could use some fungicide. It's struggled more than it's thrived. And then our big old lemon here, about 4 years old, and it's lost a lot of leaves. It's got I think a parasitic infection plus a little bit of fungus in the soil. So I've said this before, I don't know that those are, if you're looking at buying citrus plants in the upstate, this is probably not the best place for them. Still just a little cold, does not quite the kind of environment that they like. But here we have things that do grow well. Creeping Jenny down on the ground. Doesn't flower, but it does give us some nice sort of pale green ground cover. We have snapdragon here, some more pansies, some more snaps here. Our biggest group of snapdragons is over here, the pink ones. These have done very well. Now these all came, in fact all the ones in this row have come back from a batch that I put in 2 years ago, and for whatever reason this particular group has done very well, but I put others all along here and they have not come back. These two have come back in a very small way, and then this one over here has come back pretty nicely. But all the ones that were through here have not come back at all. Not sure why. It's just kind of the way plants are. And then, we've shown the viburnum over here. These bloomed last month. Spectacular, but they're all done now. Over here, this is an early spring bed for the most part. Not a whole lot to see right now, unfortunately. We have irises, we had Siberian irises, blue, yellow, and white, all done now. Got hostas coming up, and we had more azaleas over here, and just a bunch of spring flowers that are pretty much finished up, and then some hydrangeas that are getting ready to bloom probably in another few weeks. Got a butterfly bush up here. Just in the past week, it has finally opened up. We've got our first butterfly bush flowers. This is sort of an enigma for us. It's huge. It's about 8 or 10 feet tall. Not sure what it's going to do this year. I was a little disappointed with what it produced flower-wise last year. It seems like there's more just dead branches than living branches, and it's probably something we need to cut back pretty severely. Although for right now, it's got a number of really pretty blooms on it, and we'll see what it does for the rest of the year. But we may have to make some drastic moves with that. Over here we have our knockout roses, 5 of them. These were bright red in color as of about 2 or 3 weeks ago. They are kind of, I won't say dormant, but they're kind of in an in-between phase. They would put a lot more out if we did our deadheading. You see seed pods everywhere. And when I say seed pods, most of them don't actually turn to seed, but you do get some that do, like these. They look like grapes, and those do take away from the energy of the plant. So they need to be cut back, but it's very time consuming because you have hundreds and hundreds of flowers that had bloomed here. So that's something we frequently just don't quite get around to. What else do we have? We had some irises back in here. These are done now. More azaleas that are finished up. Our neighbors have some nice native daylilies that are coming out now. It's about that time of the year. Here in late May, you start getting a lot of things blooming that you've been waiting for all spring, and most of the spring flowers are just about finished. Now over here, these are probably the most successful vinca that we have, and hopefully they'll continue to do well. It's a nice place facing the street, where if they get a little bit bigger, they'll really show up nicely. Our flower over here that neither my wife or I can remember the name of, I just call it the rock candy flower because it looks like rock candy. Beautiful stalks of purple. And then next to that is another little wild flower that we can't remember the name of, and a slightly more pink version here. Beautiful flowers. Just don't ask for them by name because we don't know what it is. Here going to be our last irises, our bearded iris for the spring. These will probably be gone next week, I imagine. I don't see any other buds on these plants, so say goodbye to those. Still some pansies left, some vinca through here, and then these were just starting to come out last week when we did our video. These oriental lilies, spectacular colors, the bright yellow with the red specks, and behind that we have monarda, which are going to continue to get taller and taller and then put out red flowers in about a month. A big climbing rose over here, again, needs to be deadheaded. We just haven't gotten around to it. If we did that, we would probably get a lot more flowers fairly quickly. Same thing with some of these knockouts over here. They're kind of done for the time being, but they'll give us some more flowers, and more yet if we get around to deadheading. Now on this side, we have some more of the zinnias that my wife has put in, and then daylilies back in here. These are slowly being kind of pushed out by the big knockout roses. More daylilies here. I believe these are the ones that have the bright orange flowers with ruffles. Absolutely gorgeous once they get started. Some more dianthus here. We have some sedum down here. Little ground cover plant. It does have these little delicate yellow flowers on them. They're real pretty. This bloomed for a very short time, but these daylilies have gotten significantly larger since last year. I'd say they've increased about 50% in size and in height, which is really cool. Now over here on the back side, we've got more oriental lilies, and this has been kind of a problem area. These have been pushed out by this knockout rose that sort of fell over. We haven't done a lot of maintenance or correction on that. We should, because it's sort of imposing on the oriental lilies. But we've got some of these that are 3-4 feet tall now, and they'll start giving us flowers probably in another month or so. But for right now, this bed is largely kind of in an in-between phase. So not a lot of super exciting stuff this week, but we're just seeing the progression as we go from gradually from spring into late spring and then into summer. But this is probably the most welcome addition this week, is the lily. And now we'll turn our attention to the backyard, and we'll start that video in just a minute. So hope it's sunny wherever you are, and until next time, happy gardening.